Hey guys, thanks for listening and welcome back. This is part 3 of the strategy assessment of your business model. And what we're looking at this week is we're looking at the customer interface assessment, which is this part on over here, which is the relationships, channels, and customer segments of the business model canvas. We're using Apple as an example because you all know and love Apple, I'm sure. And so what we are doing is we're going through a number of different questions on different parts of the business model of your business model and looking at the different opportunities, options, and ways that you can think about it so that you can see opportunities to change, optimize, and improve it. So today we're going to start off with the customer interface, on the customers. And our first question is, okay, when we're looking at our customers, are the churn rates low? Are the churn rates high? Okay, so a churn rate is basically how long do you keep your customer? A churn rate of 100% is customers come to you once and they never come back. Great example of that would be the canteen on death row. So customers come in, eat their meal, head off to death row. They're not coming back. So frankly, it doesn't matter what quality of food you give them, does it really? Or are the churn rates very, very low, in which case you've got a customer for life. Okay, and this is one of these questions where there is normally a clear and obvious answer that if you're in a free market competitive market where consumers have got a choice, it's a very good idea to try and reduce churn rates as much as possible. How much do you try and reduce them? And this is very much a cost return trade-off, because you can do a lot of things that reduce churn rates. How much do you want to do? I remember I worked for one engineering company a long time ago, and we delivered absolutely amazing quality. Customers kept on coming back because they were only paying for 80% of the cost of what we delivered because we were doing something so good. It was absolutely terrible for our bottom line. And so there is an importance to get this churn rate right. And obviously, if you've got a high churn rate, then you've got to do an awful lot more up in the channels up here. I think Apple, from what I saw the other day, so if basically something like the cost of losing a customer to Apple is something like $10,000 US, because that is the lifetime value to Apple. So for every percentage point that they reduce their churn rate, their sales are probably going to go up by $1 or $2 billion, which is pretty amazing. Again, on the other side of the smartphone market, if you look at how different smartphone manufacturers have risen and fallen very quickly over the last few years, Xiaomi hasn't managed to get much traction outside Asia. Nokia famously fell from grace very quickly. HTC came and went. This is all examples of churn rates changing very quickly, and so this is quite important for you to focus on. So think about, what would your ideal churn rate be in respect to the rest of your business model? Is 0% churn reasonable? Are you prepared to put all the effort in to achieve that? Are you prepared to spend the money to achieve that? And then if you did do that, what would you need to be changing in your customer relationships to achieve a 0 churn rate? How would you have to change your value proposition to achieve a 0 churn rate? What would that mean to your revenue? And you can see how all this has an impact on the rest of the business model. Is your customer base well segmented. Okay, so obviously I haven't done a great job of segmenting Apple's customer base here, but broadly, if you look at what Apple does, and you can say, yes, they've got a number of distinct segments in the market. You've got designers and graphic artists, you've got cool coders, you've got entrepreneurs, all as fairly discrete customer segments. The boring businessman, I mean, as famously was shot in the 1984 Apple advert hammering Microsoft, they're still not really targeting that market, despite the fact that the iPhone is now reaching out to an awful lot of people at the managerial and the executive level. So have you got a very well segmented customer base? And that may mean you've just got one very clear segment that you're very, very focused on and you're never letting go. Or it may mean that you've got 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 segments where you're putting the right number of resources into each of them. They are well defined. You know how to hit them. You know where they live. You can deliver what they need, want, feel, and love. Are you able to do that? Or are you, as one of my customers said this morning, oh yeah, my customers are women. It's like, okay, that's 3 billion, 4 billion people in the world. Are you really selling to bra makers in Sri Lanka, socialites in New York, and housewives in Yorkshire? No, it's a lot more segmented than that. The more you understand, the more you focus on your segmentation, the more powerful, the more focused you can make your targeting, and the less that you have to sell. Then are we continuously acquiring new customers, or are we failing to acquire new customers? For a lot of internet-based businesses, there are so many potential customers out there that when you're reaching a point and you're not getting to new customers, the first thing that you're looking at is, okay, have I got the right channels? Have I got my segmentation right? Have I got my value proposition right? Why aren't I connecting? What have I got that product market fit actually happening yet? In other industries, that's far less important. So for one business that I worked with, there were 37 potential customers in Southeast Asia. I think over a 5-year period, we had 1 new company entered the market and 2 left. That's it. When we were selling to all of them, we couldn't really then get new customers because any new customers wouldn't be buying what we really wanted to sell them. It was then a matter of, okay, can we sell more to them? And that business was actually highly vulnerable, because if our customers didn't have any orders, we couldn't get any orders, and we couldn't then go out and do anything else. And that was actually tied into the oil and gas business. So depending very much on where you are, the need to acquire new customers is maybe high or it may be low. And it also goes back to your churn. Are you replacing new customers at a greater rate? Are you replacing customers at a greater rate than you are losing them through churn? And then coming back to the churn, is it going to be cheaper to reduce your churn, or is it going to be cheaper to acquire new customers? And that again is a trade-off that you want to make. And very few entrepreneurs or even businessmen explicitly look at that and say, well, what is the best strategy for us? Should we reduce our churn rate? Should we acquire new customers? Most of the time they say, we want to go off and conquer new worlds and new territories and explore. And they try and acquire new customers, which is actually often a lot easier to be farming fields at home and making them even more productive.